Hello, I'm Brian Fitzgerald, the Golf Doctor, and today we're going to look at an extension of last week's video, which is, last week's video was all about nose position in your setup, and today I'm going to talk about nose position for short game shots. So if this is your first time to this channel, welcome. This channel is all about helping you play better golf and lowering your golf score. And one of the best ways to do that would be to consider subscribing to my channel. I produce videos every Monday and every Thursday. So if you subscribe, click on the bell notification, you're then notified of every single video as they get released. So as I said, today's a follow-on from last week's video about correct nose position in the setup. So I'll put a link in the description and at the top of the page, so you can click on that video if you want to do it. So nose position is something I don't hear a lot of. I hear a lot about head position and different body positions, but nose position I think is critical. So when we're playing short game shots, and we're going to start with a pitch shot, having the correct nose position sets up the rest of the shot. So I see a lot of people trying to pitch and they have their ball forward, they have their head back here, and they're doing that because they feel that's going to help them to get the ball up in the air. The actual truth of the matter is, this is a 55-degree sand wedge. There's a lot of loft on this club. All I need to do is allow that club to get back down to where it started from. So if I start having my nose in here behind the ball, and you can see there it's close to my right foot, if that nose position is in there, I'm going to be more than likely going to hit the ground well behind and hit the ball extremely fat. Take a big chunky divot. That's not what we want with this shot. So we actually want to hit this with a slightly descending blow. I don't want you thinking of coming down super steep, but we do want it slightly descending. And the golf swing works on an arc. So at some point the club is going to start level with the ground, it's going to slowly rise, it comes back down, meets the ball at the bottom of that arc, and then follows through and comes up again. So we just have to meet the ball at the right place in the arc. That happens to be in the middle of the stance. So to encourage that slight descending angle of attack, I want you to think of having your nose just very slightly in front. So if I take a ball out of my pocket and I drop a ball from that nose, it's this side of where that stick would be. So I'm happy if you're level, absolutely no problem with that at all. Try having your nose slightly forward, because as I said, the more forward I go, and I'm exaggerating it, that's going to make me come down quite steep. Now we don't want to come down too steep, we need a shallow angle of attack, but do want it slightly descending. So if we can get that nose just in front of that little white stick there in my setup, that's going to help me to produce the shot that I need. So that's a critical one. So I'll see how I go with this one. So I've got my nose just very slightly forward. Nice shallow angle of attack. The ball lands and stops. So that's what we do with pitching. Okay, now we turn our attention to bunker shots. So bunker shots is very similar to pitching. If you think about bunker shots, we definitely want a slightly steeper angle of descent, just slightly, than what we normally do. I still believe we should have a fairly shallow angle of attack in a bunker, but we do want it to be slightly steeper. So just to, without us thinking about having to hit down, if we can move our nose position to be just ever so slightly in front of this white line, and of course we're going to get the ball a little bit more forward. So I'm going to try and have my entry point into the sand about where my middle is. I want my nose to be about where the ball is. So that's just a little bit in front. That helps shift my weight forward. Now I'm very careful when I use those words, shifting your weight forward, because most people say you should have more weight on your left foot. I totally agree. Watch what happens when I watch what most people do to shift their weight forward. They're actually moving their knees forward and their head goes back, and they finish up with their nose behind the ball. They hit that far behind the ball and they wonder why they can't get it out. So we don't want to do that. I'm not going to use that term shifting your weight forward. We want our ball position to be where that stick is. That stick is more forward in my stance than I would normally have it, but I want my nose now over the ball, so it's in front of the middle of the stance. So that when I play that bunker shot, I'm going to come down, hit about there, which is the middle of my stance, and then the ball is going to come out nice and softly and stop on the green. So I'll try and attempt a bunker shot here from grass. It probably won't work. So I've got my nose forward. There's a pretty good soft shot that simulated a bunker. Of course, in sand, I would hit down a lot more than that, and there would be some sand displacement. Okay, so now I'm going to hit a chip shot. So chip shots go low and run, and we want that ball to run. So nose position here is critical as well. So what I'd like you to think of as having a fairly narrow stance. We try and keep the ball pretty much in the middle of my stance. Some people like it further back. I prefer things to be a lot more neutral. I want my hands to be neutral, so my hands should be over the top of that stick. I don't really want my hands too far in front. You can do it slightly, but I'm only looking at maybe a ball width in front of that stick. I'm happy if you go that way, but certainly don't do that. So we want, as I said, a fairly neutral setup. We are going to get the shaft of the club a little bit more vertical, but from there, I want my nose to be in front of that stick again. So by doing that, it helps me to keep hitting slightly down, even though we're trying to make it roll. We do need to hit down. I don't want to be hitting up on this. That's when we top it or chili dip it and just hit an awful shot. So we really want a slightly descending blow. So we've got a neutral setup. So if I take my setup there, drop the ball from my nose, it's landed in front. So from there, that helps me to hit with a slight descending blow. I'll hit a little chip shot, see how I go. And there the ball goes nice and low, runs and goes up to the flag. So there you have it. Nose position for short game shots in golf. Haven't heard a lot about it. Hope it makes sense. I've kept it as simple as I possibly can. I always like to do things as simply as I possibly can, and that's about as simple as I can do it. So basically for all of those short game shots, the common thread is we want our nose to be just very slightly in front of the ball for varying different reasons. But if you can just work on that, I think you're going to find you're going to have better short game shots. And if you can get a better short game, you're definitely going to lower that score. Thank you for letting me help you with your golf. I'm Brian Fitzgerald, the Golf Doctor, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.